Please help me fight these people. I am the enemy number one, and I don't care, and I'm proud to be one. If you're in Delhi, then we must meet, and all your like-minded friends. Send your number. I'll save and receive your call. Best wishes. So this was the email that I received 10 years ago, and I'm so glad that 10 years down the line we're having this conversation today. And I'm able to. I'm honored to share the panel with Digvijay sir. And what he used to say at that point of time, many people misunderstood, and there were remarks that were being made. But today, many people, most of us, like people, agree with what he used to say. The dangers of these people, the RSS coming into the power, right? And this discussion that we are having today. So before I start, like in the today's topic, I would request sir to please share his views with all of us.
Well, thank you, Gaurav, for bringing out something which I had not shared with anyone. Anyway, you you have proved your worth, and your last 1 decade in Congress Party, you've left a mark, and of course, you are now been can't we go for a more reliable kind of a voting process so that we as an Indian know where I vote, where my vote has gone, whether my vote has been counted or not, which is my fundamental right. So these are the basic issues which I thought I would like to flag. Thank you. I am finished, Gaurav. You can take over, or the questions can come. I'm ready. Hello.
Yeah, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for sharing your views and opinion. So there's something as the subject of the conversation that we wanted to discuss, that the current regime and how it is the consequences on the minorities and the women or Dalits. So I would want to add that any state which is not based on human values will never do justice to its minorities, be it like religious, social, gender, or anything. Like what are the human values? Not be in peace with one particular section of the society, whereas I'm not concerned about the peace with the or love towards the other section of the society. So basically, these values make you look at other humans, irrespective of their faith, color, gender, caste, as equal, right? When you're empathetic towards other humans. When you see other humans as equal, that is when you start believing in practicing democracy. If you cannot see other humans as equal, you can never be democratic because of your biases and your or you're bound to do injustice to those who you consider as lesser mortals. The states, as which are examples, in the recent example is Afghanistan, which are founded on the basis of anything but human values, right? And that means you consider your own faith or your characteristics superior than others. What happens in that case? You are not seeing others as equal, and therefore injustice follows. So anyone who is not at the top of the pyramid, they are going to face the brunt one or the other time. In this present structure, it started in a male dominated is always against women, and in our the social structure, the unfortunate social structure that exists in India. So the Dalits were always facing again the same thing. Radicalism followed, division followed, violence followed. But it was, fortunately, Punjab was, because always, after the Green Revolution, and even before then, Punjab was always an economic, always had the economic prosperity. So it wasn't much difficult. So immediately after that, because of the and the economic prosperity, people were able to get back on the track. But if that economic prosperity will not exist, the youth of the land they are going to get more and more radicalized.
Hi, Gaurav, this is Kailash here. Can you hear me clearly? I'll just
Yes,
add a
Kailash.
few points, Gaurav and Digvijay sir, that what Gaurav mentioned about economic prosperity. Here, what we have been seeing is that there has been a failure in governance. There is inflation is rampant. Prices are rising of fuel, cooking oil. I mean, all whatever essential items are there, and to shift the blame as such, on the other, or maybe to divert attention, what is happening is now, over the last few weeks we have been seeing social media has been viral with videos of lumpen elements are attacking all the poor and vulnerable from the minority communities, and again there is no fear of action. And again, just like there used to be during the second wave, when there was complete silence and no acknowledgement for the government, there is the same thing is happening here. So what would you say? What would be your thoughts on it, Digvijay sir, on this? What can be? I mean, what can we do about it? Because fringe is right now in the open with, I think, tacit support from the government.
Well, Kailash, is the if you see our history and if
Yes,
you
sir.
see our Sanatan Dharma, the Hindu religion, we are so, I would say, overarching that we believe that the whole universe is one family. Like live and let live, Jio Jinedo has been our core idea. And everyone has a right to sort of follow the religion he wants to. And in spite of the fact that the Christianity came to India first before it went to Europe, and Islam also came about 1400 years back. Our uh, the people remained as good Hindus. Now, what has been the core idea of the Britishers after the 1857 first war of independence? They saw for the first time that Hindus and Muslims got together, and if some other few people had supported now then only. But unfortunately, the division between us only led to our defeat, and then the Britishers remained here for another 90 years before they went. So they came about this idea of divide and rule, and that is why they encouraged the religious fundamentalism of the Hindus and the Muslims in the early 1900s. You see, the Muslim League, the Jamaat-e-Islami, RSS, Hindu Mahasabha, they all came in the first 2 decades of the 20th century,
Right. Yes, sir.
and all that sort of led to um, social disharmony, communal rights, and that continued. Now, this very section, which what is called the right wing Hindu fanaticism, the fringe elements, as they call, whenever the BJP or the RSS is cornered on any foolish activity or on a um, activity of the RSS, they say they are these fringe elements. But why these fringe elements are there, and why can't you control them? Now, what we've seen in the recent years is the emergence of these people. I give credit to RSS on one issue, that they've been very clear about their objective. Since 1925, they've said Hindu Rashtra. And then, of course, Mr. Savarkar came with an idea of Hindutva. which was never the core idea of the Indian Hindu religion, which is basically against the core concept of the Hindu religion or the Sanatan Dharma. Swami Vivekananda, if you read, he has very categorically sort of given the message that the core idea of Hindu religion is to allow others to grow and not to sort of define or not to sort of discriminate anyone on the basis of religion.
Right.
Unfortunately, if you see today, uh, I would take you back to the partition days, 1947. Because of the partition and the extreme sort of revulsion against the Hindus among the Muslims and among the Muslims against uh, among the Hindus and the Muslims on either side, which led ultimately.
Hello, sir. We can't hear you, sir.
दिग्विजय सिंह सर जी आप म्यूट पर हैं. Could you kindly unmute yourself?
Maybe you got a call or something.
Yeah, that's quite possible. Gaurav, would you like to pick up from where sir left? Or would you like to add in? What have you?
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
आप कह रहे हैं you've been here with the Indian National Congress now for the last 10 years and तब से अब तक का आपने क्या देखा? I mean, how has the narrative shifted? या फिर to what extent do you think has hate penetrated our society now?
It has penetrated to great extent. I'll tell you when Sir was just talking about fringe elements. So the violence that we're talking about, or the hate that we're talking about, be it against the Muslims or the Dalits or the women or anyone, it is not that it has just started now after 2014. No, this hate existed from ages, right? As Sir just said that it was actually, we would say that, fired or penetrated more by the British to keep the Hindus and the Muslims divided. But after 97 till the 2014, whenever such things were done, so I'm sure you all will remember that person, Muthalik, and they carried out, violence against women in a club in Mangalore more than 10 years ago. Do you remember? That was during UPS time.
Yeah.
That point of time also, I would very clearly say that such incidents would occur. But at that point of time, unequivocally, everyone in people in the government or in the media, they would condemn that, and there would be action taken against such people. Anyone who was trying to create such kind of disharmony or anything against in the society. Things now are that people like him, people of his ideology, or people, those who think about against the spread hate against the minorities, the social, the gender, they are the government. That's a problem, and that is the reason when there is a violence against the recent videos we've seen that coming out. Whenever there is such violence, instead of taking action against those people, the accused, there is always an attempt to whitewash the such incidents, and there are attempts to protect such people.
Yeah, actually, in some of the cases have been put on the person who was attacked.
Yes,
In fact,
the
that
victims,
is
right? Not only Kailash, I would say not only sometimes, but most of the time in such incidents, there are cases against the
But
victims.
wouldn't you say, Gauravji, that looking at what is happening, I mean, how the minorities are being increasingly stigmatized, it is something like a political campaign, which is often, I mean, you see some people from the ruling party openly supporting it and amplifying it in social media. So if we look, I mean, right now there are, I think, anti-conversion laws are there in eight of India's states which are under the BJP, including those of intermarriage. And looking at since we know that elections are going to be coming up next year in certain states, key states, followed by, of course, our national elections in 2024. uh, what do you think, is there some sort of strategy which is being played out, and if so, how we could counter it? What can be done? What would be your thoughts on this?
Sure. See, political parties at their own space, they are coming up with the solutions as you and I. What is the solution? How do we bring the change? How I see is, from my perspective, my opinion is, Sir has joined.
Sorry, I got disconnected.
Yes, I'll just repeat
Yes,
what
sir.
I was just speaking with Gaurav about. I was just saying that from what is visible over the last few months, how the minorities are being increasingly stigmatized. It looks like a political campaign which is being carried out. Even certain people from the ruling party come out in support on social media, and it's like and seeing that how elections are going to be coming up in some key states next year, and our national elections also in a few years. So what do you think, this is some sort of strategy which is being played out by the BJP RSS, and if so, how could counter it, or what can be done to counter these?
Kailash, let me tell you one thing. I come from an area uh, which has been predominantly strong Hindu Mahasabha RSS area. And since 1971 to 72, I've been fighting these elements on the ground, in the courts, in the assembly element also. Basically, recently, in a case, Supreme Court has issued guidelines for the state governments. How should they um, have and persecuting the minorities? So I filed a petition in a high court in Indore, basically to follow the guidelines issued by Supreme Court, and if they are not, then contempt proceedings should be initiated against these governments. But they have been asking for an extension in giving they were noticed and they have not replied to that. You see, we have to take them on head on, because I, the ruling party, that is the BJP, it is only a branch of the main tree of RSS,
Yes.
which is based on the issue of Hindu Rashtra. And if you read the literature of Guru Golwalkar, Savarkar, they openly say that anyone who belongs to the other faith or the religion does not have cannot be given the same rights as a Hindu. So these are the basic issues which we have to fight. These are basic challenges. And whenever I have said that, I've been labeled as anti-Hindu. I've been labeled as a Muslim baiter or a Christian baiter, whatever. So therefore, I've been fighting them all around. But unfortunately, what is happening is the youth of this country, which it is being fed such horrible things on WhatsApp, which they feel is the truth, is the gospel truth. The issue is that the WhatsApp, they the people feel that सब WhatsApp पर आ गया, बहुत हम उसको मानेंगे. They want to change the history. They call Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru to be a Muslim parentage. All this rubbish is being accepted. That's the unfortunate part. People don't really know. People really don't know, whether these people, who are being labeled as Hindu, are really Hindus or not. They don't really know whether these people, who are being labeled as Hindu, are really Hindus or not. They don't really know whether these people, who are being labeled as Hindu, are really Hindus or not. They don't really know whether these people, who are being labeled as Hindu, are really Hindus or not. They don't really know whether these people how are their intentions. I'm one of the persons who they hate the most, and because I never sort of hesitate to speak out my mind and what is correct and what is not correct. What you just now said, Kailash, is that we have to follow the Indian Constitution, which has given rights to everyone to follow the religion which he believes in. Now, it is not only the Muslims or Hindus or whatever. The very the basic tenets of Indian Constitution are threat, because the RSS and the BJP have never sort of believed in the Indian Constitution. They have always sort of seen Indian Constitution as a stumbling block in their basic idea, or
Yes, I had
their
just
basic.
mentioned that 8 of the states currently have anti-conversion laws. So how does how so when the law is come, I mean, we will have to fight that at the legal battle also against the laws. 8 of the BJP states have anti-conversion laws.
No, I know. I know these anti-conversion laws are there, and unfortunately, the first anti-conversion law was enacted in Madhya Pradesh in 1954, 55, 57. But conversion on the basis of some kind of a pressure or some kind of a
Force, yeah.
uh, financial bait is all right. We accept that. Any every you no religion should use poverty as such, or social discrimination such, to encourage people to take up their faith or to follow their religion. But the way the BJP and the RSS function and their committed cadre, now they have spread the canard all over the country that the Muslims, they marry 4 times, they've got dozens of children, so they will become a majority by in the next 10 to 15, 20 years, which is absolutely rubbish. With
Yes.
the present growth of population, the maximum growth of population may increase up to 18% of Muslims, which is also showing a declining trend in every census. So this kind of a canard that is being spent, like Hindu dharm khatre mein hai, we are in danger, we'll be outmaneuvered, we'll be. Now recently a deputy chief minister of Gujarat said that if we don't fight Muslims, they will become the majority and we will become the minority. Absolutely rubbish. If you can talk to any of the demographers, it is just not possible. So we have to fight them ideologically, we have to fight them on social media, and of course, we have to educate and inculcate the spirit of social harmony and secularism, liberal modern mind in the young leaders of the Congress party. This is where the challenge is.
Yes, yes, sir. But also another aspect is that this violence against the minorities has also now put India in the dock in the international arena.
Yeah.
I think in May this year, the U.S. government report on international religious freedom, they expressed concern about the discrimination happening in India against the religious minority.
Yeah.
So this will impact India in the long run. Right? What do you think? How that
Certainly,
affect?
yes. Certainly, yes. But the issue is that the soldiers of the BJP, they say कि ये तो अंग्रेजों ईसाइयों का ये सब रिपोर्ट है जो हमारे धर्म को भ्रष्ट करना चाहते हैं. The kind of language they use at the grassroots is something just so deplorable and disgusting that you have to hear it to believe it. So therefore, I feel that uh, internationally, yes, we have lost the the standing which we had uh, over the years from 1947, meticulously built up from Pandit Jawahar, Dr. Manmohan Singh. But at the time, what is most important for the Congress party is to take them on the streets, in the mohallas, in the cities, and we have to stand up for the minorities. We have to stand up for the the atrocities against the minorities. But at the same time, you will be hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can hear you, sir.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. You're audible.
The point is, you will be called anti-national. You are against the Hindu religion. All that you have to bear the brunt. But face the brunt. Mahatma Gandhi, what kind of language was not used against him? But he stood firm on what he believed. Only if we had 10 more Mahatma Gandhis in this country, or even half of that number, we'll be able to fight these people. We have to take them on strongly. This is the biggest challenge before the Congress party.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Unfortunately, my own experience has been that I fight BJP 100%. But at the same time, to a certain extent, in the Congress party also, who think that the RSS represents, which is certainly not. So therefore, I face the brunt from my own colleagues at the same time. That's unfortunate.
Yes, sir. So now coming to crimes against women and Dalits, I
Yes,
mean, I'll just highlight some statistics which show how bad things have become. Like,
yes,
in the first half of the year, only in Delhi alone, there was a 63% rise as compared to last year. Rape cases increased to 803 from 580 in the same period last year. Sexual violence against Dalit women uh, has increased by almost 160% between
mm,
2.9%, 1.8%. So
yes.
there's a complete failure on this front from the ruling party. But there's action or no visible reaction, and nobody is asking any questions also. So, what should we do about this? What are your insights on this?
The most unfortunate part is the judiciary today, Kailash. See, there are any number of cases you find that the judiciary also acting on the same premise as the ruling party, which is unfortunate. Now, also the one of the reason is the unemployment. One of the reason is, of course, the frustration amongst the youth, which is sort of now the kind of road rage and the kind of sort of the action is being taken by the people because they have lost the faith in the judicial system, the administration. Now there was a case in the Western UP that a person, inspector, a Hindu inspector, was killed by the RSS activists because he wanted sort of to sort of be a fair police officer. So this is something which is one of the biggest threat before this country today. And also think this is coming to a fore because of the financial the, the the conditions of the society in the rural areas and the urban area. The poor people are under extreme stress, and there's frustration to extent which is now reflected in the actions which you have mentioned just now.
Gauravji, I would just like to ask you, since a lot of misinformation is being spread on social media now, fake news gets shared hundred lakh. I mean, there are lack of shares, while any correction or any will only get some hundreds or thousands of shares. How can we fight all these and highlight the wrongs which are happening currently and the failures using social media?
Sure. Kailashi, so what happens is that anything which is like when we call it fake news, automatically the fake news is most of the time like 99% of the time it's negative. It's fake news is negative, right? And it attracts more, like the people are attracted more towards it, so there is always a tendency that it is going to go viral more than the positive. I'll give you an example. So there is the I think our leader Rahul Gandhi ji, he has been the amount of fake news he has faced, I don't think anyone has ever. So they clip his videos and speeches and spread with a different kind of narrative. And similarly, there is one speech of his where he is actually referring to Narendra Modi, that in Gujarat, that he came here and he said this, which is the Alu and Sona thing.
Yes.
That part they have clipped as if he was saying, and they spread it, and people have seen it. I have myself, every year, I think many times I share the original clip again on social profiles, but still it has not, uh, gone as it should have. So coming, see, there are more people against this regime than in the favor of this regime. In fact, the number of people, those who voted for this regime in 2014, many of them have turned against them. These people are realizing the truth. So many people like you and I, the thing is that we have people have to get together. There has to be we have to build a huge network. So when there is a fake news and you have a huge network and you spread, it's kind of a movement you have to build. So in every state, every district, you have let us say, talking about United with Congress. If in every district you have 500 people in your network, right? So you're talking about a huge number in entire India. Now this entire network decides that, okay, this was the fake news, but this is the truth, and tomorrow at 10 a.m. all of us are going to share this truth. So in entire India, lakhs of people are doing it, and you keep doing it again and again and again, and that is only way to defeat these people.
Right.
Why? Sorry. When we were having the conversation before, when Sir joined, what is the how are we going to defeat these people? I just want to add a few things. See the videos that we get, right? Videos of violence which are coming up, the numbers of the violence, the data of the violence against minorities or the Dalits or the women that Kailash ji you just shared. It's the more the violence and more it is not hidden from the public, it helps this government, because then the conversation is always around these incidents, for or against. People are occupied with it, and nobody is interested uh, to look at the economic devastation that has hit us in last 5 years. As Digvijay sir in his opening comments mentioned about it. So we have to tell people that these videos and these incidents, this is a design, and the failure that what they are trying to hide is the truth, and it is going to impact the people. We have to talk more and more. Our side of story is like why RSS has gained in last so many decades, and is that we have not furthered our ideology. So this is one thing I would say. I would say about the Congress, that where we have lagged behind in last 6-7 decades, is that we did not have a plan to further our ideology. That has to change. So political parties are working on their own strategies, but public and the supporters of the political party, people like you, all those who got together today to organize this discussion, and the people, those who are listening, you need to, all of us, we have to do more and more. We have to, as Sir just said, in every city, mohalla, we have to have these discussions where we tell people that this is the economic condition of the country, right? और हिंदू मुसलमान ये हो जाएगा वो हो जाएगा, कुछ कुछ समझ नहीं आएगा जब अपने घर में जो है खाने को रोटी नहीं मिलेगी, और वो स्थिति ऑलरेडी हो चुकी है. जो जो ये चीज बोलते हैं कि मुसलमान बढ़ जाएंगे, राइट? सो जब मुस्लिम जब इन्वेजन हुआ, अंग्रेजों का राज रहा, राइट, उस समय ऐसा कुछ नहीं हुआ। तो अभी जिसको बोलते हैं कि ये लोग कि फर्जी राष्ट्रवादी हैं ये लोग, और जो फर्जी अपना धर्म के की आड़ में ये जो अपनी नफरत की आइडियोलॉजी फैलाते हैं, इनके हिंदू खतरे में आ गए। 2014 से पहले तो हिंदू खतरे में नहीं था, कभी ऐसी स्थिति नहीं थी। अब ये खुद ही बोलते हैं कि हिंदू खतरे में है, right? So that is not going to happen, and it is like that is what we have to explain to people. अब जितने और बेरोजगारी बढ़ती जाएगी और जो युवा है वो स्कूल कॉलेज से बाहर आता रहेगा, कुछ काम करने को होता नहीं रहेगा, तो वो इसी में ही जो है लोग धंसते जाएंगे। तो इसके लिए बहुत बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है कि इस रिजीम को हटाकर इस रिजीम को हटाकर, और बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट,
sorry Gaurav, please continue.
श्योर। सो बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है कि इस रिजीम को वोट आउट करके, चुनावों में वोट आउट करके जो अगली सरकार है वो इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट की ओर काम करें, एंड दैट इज आल्सो नॉट गोइंग टू हैपन लाइक विद अ ब्लिंक ऑफ एन आई, बट वी हैव टू गेट बैक ऑन टू द ट्रैक। Otherwise, there is we are looking at a huge devastation. And one last point I want to add here. See, we say that India is a young country. हमारा जो average median age है जो वो अराउंड 35 और समथिंग बोला जाता है। आप खुद भी जाइए बाहर, गली मोहल्ले में, बाजार में कभी नजर घुमाइए, आपको युवा ही युवा दिखेंगे। You will just see young people, right? And just imagine that in next 30 years, the same situation, you are standing in the same spot एट अ डिस्ट्रिक्ट सेंटर, और कहीं पर आप बाजार में खड़े हैं और आप घुमाते हैं, चेहरा भीड़ है, आपको युवा दिखते हैं, और आज से 30 साल बाद ये जो युवा है, हम सब लोग जो हैं, हम 60 प्लस हो जाएंगे। सो वी आर गोइंग टू फेस अ सिचुएशन वेयर इन वी हैव मोर ओल्ड पीपल देन द यंग पीपल, बिकॉज अगर आप 1990 के बाद पॉपुलेशन ग्रोथ देखेंगे तो वो डिक्लाइन हो रही है, ग्रोथ उसमें डिक्लाइन आ रहा है। सो फॉर पीपल लाइक अस, जो हमारा जो हम देश है जिसको हम कहते हैं कि युवा देश है, आज जिसकी जो एवरेज एज है वो 35-38 साल है, हमारे पास काम करने के लिए और देश की दिशा बदलने के लिए और एक सुपर पावर बनने के लिए या फोर्स बढ़ने के लिए सिर्फ 15 से 20 का समय है। ये क्योंकि अगले 15-20 सालों में जो है, हम जितना जो देश के लोग हैं वो काम कर पाएंगे, वो कर पाएंगे, उसके बाद जो है ऑफ कोर्स बिकॉज ऑफ द एज फैक्टर चीजें बदलने लगेंगी। और हमने अगर जो हमारे पिछले 5, 7, 8, 10 साल हैं वो इकोनॉमिकल बेहतर रहे होते 2014 के बाद के, तो उसका रिजल्ट आगे और भी बढ़िया होता। अब हम किस चक्कर में फंस गए हैं कि जहां पे हम छोड़ा था 2014 में, वहां पर वापस आए। इट विल टेक अ few years for that, and then we move ahead. Very बहुत ही एक डरावनी सिचुएशन है हमारे देश के लिए, अगर आप 15-20 को लेकर देखेंगे तो।
Definitely going to be a challenge. Now I think the audience has questions, those who have been listening for all this time. So if you could have the audience members
Please raise your hand to pull you up if you have questions to Digvijay Singh ji or Gaurav Pandhi. Please, yeah.
Yes, Chetan, please ask a question.
Hello, sir. Basically, I want to ask about our plans for the farm laws. There is a law in between which directly going to hurt a normal citizen, जो लोगों को अभी तक पता नहीं है कि अगर कम्युनिटी एक्ट में जो चीजें आई तो हमारी लाइफ में हर चीज महंगी हो सकती है। ये इनको अवेयरनेस कैसे आम लोगों के बीच में वी आर गोइंग टू स्प्रेड, क्योंकि अभी तक हमारी तरफ से ऐसा कुछ नहीं लिया गया है कि हम लोगों को बता पाए कि अगर ये लॉ इम्पैक्ट हुए तो आम लोगों को भी इसका इफेक्ट पड़ेगा।
Is the question to Gaurav or to me?
Sir, to you.
सी ये तो बात समझने की है कि ये फार्म लॉ जितने भी आए हैं, at one, all farm laws were brought together because they want to capture or to the corporates, all over the multinationals. They want to capture the agriculture commodity market, which is almost about 20 lakh crores annually. Only 8% of the price, which is goes to the end consumer. Now we have a model in Amul Dairy. In Amul Dairy, 35% of the price, the end product of the price uh, to the consumer goes to the farmer. So from 8% to 35% is a 4-time increase to the farmer. So we have to make them understand. We have encourage more of farmers processing plants to take up, so that they take the best of the seed, follow the best of practices. They take the unadulterated fertilizers and chemical pesticide, and of course I'm a great supporter of organic farming. So waste material which could be converted to manure, all that has to be taken into account. But basically we have to communicate with the end user, the consumer, to sort of make him understand that it is not only the farmers who stand to lose, but ultimately the consumer, who will have to pay more for his necessary things in the future. So therefore, we have to communicate to the people, the non-farmer community, which is about almost about 30 to 40%, which is controlling the media, the people who sort of the think tanks, and the people who sort of convince people on the social media also. So therefore, a huge communication program has to be built up across the country, where we try and convince the end consumer as to how bad these three anti-farmer laws are, where the the main loser would be the end consumer when these laws are implemented. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Chandra Kumar, can you please ask a question and please specify to whom it is directed?
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hello.
Chandra.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Gauravji, and good evening, DIGVIJAYA.
Yeah,
It's indeed my pleasure to talk to you, sir.
my
Sir,
pleasure.
my question to you, sir, here is actually, the economy has tanked actually much before the pandemic. Now, BJP is making an excuse that the economy tanked all because of the pandemic. No, sir, why can't our party, the Congress party, demand a white paper from the government actually?
No, white paper is all right. But before that, the facts are quite clear. The economy went into a downslide after demonetization. And to add on, after the GST, the ill-prepared GST was implemented. And then the third stroke was, of course, the COVID. So even before pre-COVID, that is February, March 2020, the economy was already on the downslide. So this is some whether now white paper is something which is quite apparent. There is no need for a white paper as such it stands today. तो इस बात की है कि हम लोगों को समझेगा. You just see the growing unemployment figures, the closing of the MSMEs and the manufacturing sector. This is on record from government sources itself. So this we have to source ourselves and take it to the people that how badly we had handled the economy before the COVID came in. Okay?
Thanks a lot, sir. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. So garam pani diya hai. Carry on. Any more questions?
Yes, sir. Just we are just getting an audience member. Pankaj, you can ask a
Uh,
question.
yes. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to ask question here. Uh, uh, actually, sir, I had one very major question on black money side. Government has been claiming that they are actually curbing the black money by this demonetization and all. But the data suggests that out of 4.9 lakhs of 2000 rupees note, अगर इनको मैं व्यवहारिक रूप से देखूं तो कभी 2000 का नोट मुझे देखने को नहीं मिल रहा है, और ये कहाँ गए हैं नोट किसी को कुछ पता नहीं है. ये बिल्कुल ही बाजार से गायब है, और इस तरीके के क्लेम्स जो आते हैं वो बिल्कुल गलत हैं, और ये बताते हैं कि करप्शन परसेप्शन इंडेक्स कम हो गया है. इस तरीके की चीजें जो ये फैला रहे हैं, इसको हमको काउंटर करने के लिए क्या करना चाहिए?
बात आपने वही बात आई है कि हमको काउंटर करने के लिए जो फैक्ट्स हैं उनको बताना चाहिए. इन्होंने कहा था हम नोटबंदी इसलिए कर रहे हैं क्योंकि हम काला धन वापस ले आएंगे. कितना काला धन वापस आए? और मैंने आपको जैसा बताया कि करेंसी सर्कुलेशन में बढ़ गई है. अब करेंसी सर्कुलेशन बढ़ गई है लेकिन 2000 के नोट गायब हो गए. वो कहाँ चले गए हैं? तो ये सारी चीजें क्वेश्चंस अपने को भारतीय जनता पार्टी के लोगों से पूछना चाहिए, ऑन सोशल मीडिया पूछना चाहिए. और इसमें आपके पास इतना इंफॉर्मेशन अभी आपको मिल सकता है कि भाई नोटबंदी पर हमारे केवल करीब 18 लाख करोड़ सर्कुलेशन में था. अब 10 साल बाद वो हो गया करीब 27 लाख करोड़. ये 9-10 लाख करोड़ कहाँ गया, कहाँ से आया? जबकि हमको डिमोनेटाइजेशन के बाद डिजिटल ट्रांजैक्शन में हम लोग ज्यादा ध्यान देना चाहिए था. तो सारा का सारा काला धन जो है वे करेंसी उस समय जो डिमोनेटाइजेशन में बहुत बड़े पैमाने पर फेक करेंसी को रियल करेंसी में तब्दीली कर दिया गया, क्योंकि दूर दराज के जगह पर फेक करेंसी और सही करेंसी में जांच पड़ताल करने के लिए कोई स्थान ही नहीं था. पोस्ट ऑफिस में, रूरल में की जानकारी थी. तो इसलिए सारी बातों को हमको जनता के बीच में ले जाना पड़ेगा. और ये सोशल मीडिया पर में बातचीत में बातचीत
when we're talking about the things that we need to do, how we need about the things that we need to do, but we don't do it, or we try to do it and we do it, we have succeeded. I don't want to sound like completely
Sangeeta, can you hear me?
yeah.
You are absolutely right. You know, everyone who feels strongly on this issue must talk about it more often within their group, within their society, within their, I would say, city or their mohalla or whatever. Because लोगों के इसमें कांग्रेस के लोगों में यही कमजोरी होती है that we always wait for some direction to come. Now, why are we waiting? Why can't we sort of make it very clear? If there's a fake news on the social media, let's all get together and say it is a fake news. All that rubbish that is being put up on social media, we have to participate, and don't worry that you will be trolled, you will be abused, because that is their style, that is their strategy. But you are absolutely right when you say that we can keep on giving ideas what we should do, what we should not do. Start doing what you think is right, and every additional voice adds to our strength.
But Mr.
Okay.
Singh, I thank you so much for your reply. And I mean, I do agree with you. But the fact of the matter is that if each one of us does what we think is right in our tiny little circle, and yes, I know that's a very, very good start. And we have made that start. But the fact of the matter is that what we are up against is a very, very well oiled machine. We are up against a media that is, completely, what should I say, a propagandist. So it's just making a tiny little ripple, you know, which is what we are succeeding in doing and very well, is not good enough. We have to have a very strong, strategic outlook and a communication strategy. And every single person across the board has to reflect each other. Otherwise, you are saying something, somebody else is saying something else. We are contradicting each other. There is no alignment. So this is very important. We can't just rely on individual effort. That's my humble and limited point. I hope that people take cognizance. We do raise these things in our groups, we do, but it's one can only do so much in a small group of 100, 200, or 500 or 5,000 people. We are talking about 150 million people just now, and
I
that
I,
is
I
the challenge.
agree, Sangeeta. A million ripples can make a strong wave. It's only a question of how we sort of take up the issues. But I totally agree that are you following the Congress? I would say the Twitter handle or Facebook or social media.
Yes, yes.
All this is information is available on social media of the Congress Party. So we have to use that and channelize it through our WhatsApp groups. And and as I said, when we are in a country of about 1.3 billion people, I think everyone has to contribute. One should not wait that some messiah will come from the top and then he will sort of take us out of all this mess. But as I said, a million ripples will make a strong wave. Start making a ripple in your own group. Now we have I don't know which sector are you from. There's already a professional Congress party also headed by Shashi Tharoor. Now,
Yes. I know.
which city are you from?
I'm from Mumbai and I'm very much part of that group.
Yeah, exactly. Now, the constitution of professional congress is that you collect 25 like-minded people and start a chapter and start discussions, hold weekly meetings, fortnightly meetings, invite the people to speak on issues. So all these are issues where you can sort of, otherwise there was a general complaint when Mr. Rahul Gandhi rightly decided to start the All India Professional Congress that professional people were not coming into the Congress party. So here's an opportunity for you to sort of ask, sort of convince people to join your group. So, which part of Mumbai are you from? Because there is a All India Professional Congress has got its own chapters all around.
Yes. I'm part of the South Mumbai chapter.
Now, so Mr. Sanjeev Batra is also has invited me for a clubhouse chat today evening about from 8 o'clock onwards. So I think you should be actively involved in that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Sangeeta. Gaurav, आपके इस बारे में comments क्या हैं? You are on social media. What do you think?
Yeah.
हमारा एक coordinated effort नहीं है, आपको भी लगता है क्या?
See, I want to add something here that the
नहीं
beauty
बुलाया
of democracy is the beauty of
नहीं बुलाया
democracy is right. So the beauty of democracy is that you can make a choice, right? So what happens is that
दिग्विजय सिंह सर जी, आपका जो म्यूट करना पड़ेगा.
Okay, sorry.
yeah. So the beauty of democracy is that you're free to make a choice. Yes, and there is our ideology, which is that everyone is free to make a choice. That is also very important here. What Sangeeta ji was referring to in BJP, what happens is कि अगर वहां पर कुछ डिसाइड होता है that this should be done, वहां पर बिना उसको क्वेश्चन, बिना उसको प्रश्न उनकी जमात है ऊपर से लेके नीचे तक, यहाँ होता है. लेकिन जो हमारी विचारधारा है उसमें आप डिसाइड कीजिए और आप कुछ करें. हमें ये करना है. Let's say that the party let us say that the party decides कि हमें इकोनॉमिक गैस वाले मुद्दे पे जो है आंदोलन करना है पूरे देश में. तो एक का होगा वो कहेगा कि नहीं, पेट्रोल पे करना चाहिए. एक तबका है जो कहेगा कि नहीं, जो एट्रोसिटीज हैं मुस्लिम्स और दलित्स के अगेंस्ट, उसके करना चाहिए. So what goes to the public is a huge platform, is a public opinion. कांग्रेस बहुत बड़ी डेमोक्रेसी है. You, many of you